start with. Just give me 1 second, Jeremy. Just got a little issue here. Over to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Chris.
Hi, Jeremy.
Yeah, Chris, 122 for 9 is a pretty desperate score tonight. I mean, how would you sum up that England batting performance?
Yeah, I mean, obviously not good enough. We need to improve. There's no doubt about that. We'll obviously be talking about that, reflecting on that. But obviously, if we want to be sat one day where New Zealand are at the moment, we've got to improve. But we always knew that it was going to be a tough ask against the number one top team in the world. With a young batting lineup that we have, but there's plenty of lessons out there for them to learn from.
David Lloyd said after play tonight, Chris, that there was a total lack of technique. It was shocking. I mean, he's right, isn't he?
I mean, obviously, there's things to work on without a shadow of a doubt. No one's going to hide from that. No one's going to deny it. So the case of learning, watch what we can learn from the New Zealand players, how they went about their business, the methods that they used, the way they applied themselves, and then obviously go to the nets and work on it, and then make sure we do it in the next game.
Yeah, of some players who've come in just not taking the opportunity they've been given, do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to lie. It was a great opportunity for some of the younger lads to come in and really stamp their mark on the game. We spoke about that at the very beginning of this series, and I'm sure one or two will be disappointed they haven't been able to do that.
Yeah, on the bowling side, though, I mean, it was pretty good, wasn't it, to limit the Kiwis to a lead of 85? I
think it was. It'd be very easy to look beyond something that we've done really well. I thought Stuart Broad's spell was excellent. And I thought the bowlers backed him up superbly well. They kept running in. Not at any point did they give in. And I think to bowl them out for what they did was a great testament to them. And I thought they bowled very well.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Okay, we're going to go Rory Dollard and then George the Bell. Go ahead, Rory.
Chris, without sort of going into details on individuals, do you feel like there are batsmen in there who need to come out of the team now for a spell to I don't know, build some form really, or stop getting cheap scores?
Well, things will change anyway. Obviously, once a few of the players come back, once you get Stokes, Butler, these guys back, things will naturally change anyway. But it's certainly something we'll be looking at. The conversations I'll have with the captain, obviously the people that I talk to, my assistant coaches, and that will be looked at.
We know there's a lot of different sort of competing responsibilities with IPL and various other things, but I suppose as a head coach, you haven't had your top 11 available to you at any point this year in all the test matches you've played, and the results aren't quite trending in the right direction. Does something need to give? Do you need to start having that best 11 out to win big games?
Well, I think certainly we talk a lot about what we're going to look like moving into Australia. I would like to start galvanising that test team, certainly through the India series. It'd be great to have all the lads back and available for selection. But equally, we talk about sort of the trend in results. India was hard work, and it got us completely out of our comfort zone. So although that didn't go the way we would like it to, I think there's still a lot of lessons there to be learned. But yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to galvanise that team, but we're looking forward towards the Ashes.
Thank you.
Okay, George, please.
Good day, Chris. Thanks for talking to us, first of all. A couple of things. Firstly, do you feel for the bowlers, they've worked really hard and they're not being given a chance? And secondly, is it fair to say coach philosophy has changed in the last few years and batters are now being told pretty much to work it out for themselves? Bearing in mind that doesn't seem to be working, might that be rethought?
Let's start with the first question. I always feel for the bowlers because I was an ex-bowler. And it's, part and parcel of our game plan is to put big first innings runs on the board, and then obviously have enough runs to better both sides out. We know we've got the bowling attack that we can do that with. So obviously it's a constant work on that we're trying to put those big runs down. We've got to make sure that we do that, and obviously we haven't this time round. Can you just repeat the second question for me, please?
Yeah, the idea that the philosophy of coaching in English cricket has changed from there being sort of quite tight technical work to a sense that batters have to work it out for themselves. And at the moment, we seem to have a top order with idiosyncratic techniques and the lowest averages that I can ever remember. So it doesn't seem to be working. Is that something that needs to be looked at again?
Let's just, first of all, a little bit of perspective. I think we have got a very young batting line at this time with limited experience in there. You look at Joe as the one guy that we'd say has got a heap of experience in that top seven. But we do. I mean, it's people do things in their own way. I mean, I would hate to tell somebody to change the techniques and things like that. We encourage them to do it their way, but equally, they've got to find a method that works for them as well. How do they take what they've got and use it in the best way possible? And I think that's what we're going to try and help them with. And equally, there's got to be an element that when you're out there, you've got to figure it out as well. I mean, people will watch it, they'll watch videos, things live streamed all over the world now. You can get all of information, and people will be constantly doing their homework on you, and you've got to evolve to make sure that you're capable of countering that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, George.
Okay, we'll take two more, Stefan and then Ali Martin to finish. Go ahead, Stefan.
Hi, Chris. You just
Hi,
mentioned
Stefan.
the inexperience and the youth of the batting lineup, but bar Dan Lawrence, a lot of those players have played at least 15 Test matches. They've been around the side for 18 months, 2 years, and compare with more experience to some of their New Zealand counterparts. At what time do we say it's no longer just about improvement and gaining experience, but it's actually time to deliver?
Well, I think there are now, we need to start to see starts turn into big scores now. I think that's one thing that I will be looking for, is I want to see people pushing on now, getting those big individual scores and being greedy when we get it.
Okay, Ali, last one.
Sorry, did Stefan have another one there?
Sorry,
Sure.
I wasn't quick enough on the unmute button. I'm sorry.
Go on, go, Steph. Go on.
I was just saying, you've only got a limited number of Test matches to get this right before the Ashes now. And I know the Ashes isn't the be-all and end-all, but this is the thing that you've said you're working towards. Yep. So how much more time can these batsmen be given to deliver, knowing that you've got to be right come Brisbane?
Well, I think getting the experience of your Butlers, your Stokes and people like this back will help them as well. We've seen, in the past, that you put the inexperience in between the experienced players, and it helps them come along and it helps them learn by getting it right. So I think getting that experience back into the lineup will help the younger batsmen as well, and having those people around them. And that's what I'm hoping is going to happen during the India series. We can get that batting lineup solid, and they can go out there and start scoring the runs and applying the game plan that we're trying to do, which is, again, big first innings runs and big partnerships and big individual scores, which I'd like to see.
Cheers, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, Steph. Ali, last one, please.
Thanks. Two, if possible. Firstly, how much of the events of the last week, with everything off the field, how much has that bled into the on-field performance today?
I don't think it has. We've tried very hard to make sure that the noise on the outside has been quietened down, so we can try and concentrate on cricket. Obviously, it's not easy, but that's what we've had to try and do, because we've got a Test match to try and. We had a Test match to try and complete it.
And also, I was just wondering how much, especially given that your focus is towards the Ashes at the end of the year, how much a batsman with experience like David Malan comes into your thoughts now?
Well, I'll be keeping my mind wide open. That is for definite. So if people are getting runs, I'll be taking notice.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks everyone. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.